Kabayans! I would like to welcome you all to Glutine, the podcast where we talk about the realities and stories of the youth of today. So, to start, let us Talkwa!
In today's episode, we will be talking about Di Ka Sayang because tanggap ka. You are
Wow.
accepted.
Wow.
No?
You are accepted.
What an interesting topic.
Yeah, accepted. It feels very nice to be accepted. How about you,
Oh,
Sir Dale?
Sir Dale, have you experienced being
nakatry na
accepted?
si Cyril.
Oh,
It's a
accepted
very
by
nice
family,
feeling. Yes,
accepted by
same
friends.
here.
No, we're a special
Same.
someone,
Yes.
sir. We are
It's-
accepted.
That's true. I agree with you. It's nice nga you are accepted. And also ang time or moment that you are finally accepted. Yes.
So, how do you define being accepted? What is in acceptance that you can say
Wow.
that, I can say that I'm accepted by this person or whatsoever? What?
For me, when you say you are accepted, it is accepting all of you, like who you are, like just the way you are. Ano ba? Sa song, no? It's like acceptance is package, not only your strengths
But also
or good
weaknesses.
side, but also your flaws and things that you need to improve sa imong self. So that's acceptance. It's like you can be yourself, no, with the person,
Yeah.
or because you know nga whatever you do, just being true, she or he will still accept you.
So, it's like a manifestation of true and genuine love.
Yes.
Now, when that person is accepting you, then that person is loving you.
Yes, exactly,
Wow.
Kawai Queen. How about Cyril?
Oh.
Any experience as a Gen Z in your
Yeah.
age nga you are accepted?
Yeah, of course. Accepted by family, accepted by friends. No.
What a safe answer we
Yeah.
have from Zai.
Yeah, despite my many shortcomings, my mistakes, they still accept me and love me as who I am today. Yeah.
How
Okay.
about Ma'am Queen? Kawai Queen.
Did you accept him already?
Yes. Have you tried accepting someone or somebody accepted
We're
you?
accepting everyone with love. Like,
Yeah.
di ba? No, everyone deserves love. That's why
Yeah.
we accept them.
Yes.
Showbiz.
The same with what God did, no? He loves everyone and accepts everyone. So we can come to Him just as we are because we know that God can accept us. Sometimes, my God, it makes us so insecure that we don't want to go to God because we feel we are so sinful. We are so away from Him that there's no hope for our very dark past or life or what we've been doing. There's no hope for it. But here, it's very nice to discuss this time that we are not sayang because we are accepted.
Okay, talking about acceptance. Are you glad you are you? Like, have you fully accepted that you are what you are right now? And I think this is a question that we can also pose to our kabayans. Are you glad? Are you happy that you are you at the moment?
Yes, ma'am. No, that's self-acceptance.
Yes.
Diba, Queen? What can you say?
No, for me personally, I don't accept who I am today yet. I'm not yet contented of who I am. Actually, I strive for more.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
so
I want to be the best, not the best. I don't want to be better. I want to be the best at everything. So yeah, sometimes it gives me a lot of pressure, but still I want to be my best. Actually, so yeah, the best at speaking. Let's
so
say.
you will only accept yourself when you are in your best.
Yeah, sometimes
And-
actually.
And how can you say that you are already at your best?
Yes. How do you
I'm
know?
at my best. And honestly, I'm not sure if I have experienced that, or maybe I've experienced that, but I don't have a very, very vivid memory of that. But maybe if I sometimes I think that I am at my best if I pass my requirements ahead of my classmates, and I know that it's not
Okay.
a very good attitude. But
Wow.
sometimes, I feel that way, and I feel sometimes bad. But at the same time, I feel so good about myself. Yeah.
So
That's
somehow
very true.
there's that point of view of Zai that she could be best if she does this or that.
Yeah.
If there are certain points to evaluate and gauge from what she is doing.
So for me, it appears like being the best is like you're ahead of everyone.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, but meaning your definition of best is others
Mhm.
when they are behind you or you're ahead of them. That is being best. Pero
Like
you know, ma'am, oo.
it seems you're comparing to others.
Yes.
Yeah.
So-
They become the standard of your best. na
Best,
definition.
and that's the time that you could accept
No,
yourself.
but
Yes,
sometimes
but
no.
if
It
ka-
feel, but sometimes
second
no.
ka, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes it's good to know that you're ahead of everyone so that you can also look back and help them. Yeah, that's what I also look.
Pero I want to share I saw this reel sa Facebook that the best version of you is not you can do anything you want. It is the disciplined you. That you have boundaries, you know that you will do this. I must not do this. I have boundaries. That's the best version of you, though. It's not you can do whatever you want, but it is knowing what to do, knowing your limitations, knowing your boundaries, setting, let's say, limits for yourself,
Yeah.
for you to focus on what is really best for you.
Now, since you have mentioned about you become your best if you are the disciplined you. Now you
Mhm.
have this sense of understanding and knowledge about who you really are. So it also boils down to our state of awareness, level of awareness about ourselves. So how do we start being fully aware with who we are?
It's a very good
Kavaydale.
question. How do we start being aware of who we truly are? No? I don't know, Kawai Queen. How can we answer that? Let's ask Zaire.
For
here.
me, sometimes I think that I know who I truly am with what others people say about me. Sometimes they tell me, "Oh, Zai, you're good at this and that," and I was like, and I will be shocked because I'm good at that. Because sometimes, no, we have to listen to the opinions of others. Sometimes we cannot see it ourselves that we have a potential, but it takes a person, a different person, diba, to tell us that we have a potential. Sometimes no, we don't. We need the opinions of others to be also aware. Yeah, that's what I
Is that in
think.
the, saan na ma'am, Kawai Queen, kanang window?
Johari's
Johari's window.
window.
Like,
You have we have a public self, and that's certain parts of ourselves that others know and that we know, but there is also certain part of ourselves that others know and that we don't know, and then there is also certain part of us that we know but others don't know, and the last part of it is that part is unconscious to both parties. We don't know that part of us, and the same goes with others as well. So that's 4 parts of Johari's window. If we
Yes.
going to talk about awareness
Mm-mm.
about ourselves.
So maybe when we say knowing ourselves, our true self is how others see you and how you see yourself. So we think that makes us who we are. Is that correct?
So
What do you
is
think,
it really
Kawai Queen?
something that could define us? Now, do we allow others to define us based on
Yes.
their perspective about us?
That's correct. No, up to what extent should we allow their opinion of us that will define who we are? Or we know, if you know who you really are, just so whatever they say about
Yes.
you,
Mm-mm.
you still know who you are, no? You don't mind. So let's make this clear, no? Kung how do we get the balance of
Like
what defines you?
honoring
makes
the
you you.
opinions of others, at the same
Yes.
time not affecting we are not letting them affect our essence
Mhm.
and the meaning of our existence. So how do we balance that?
We keep the window half open, half closed.
Yes, that's correct. No? How do we balance that? Is how we also how can we know that what they're saying is true or sincere, or
Yes.
what you also believe about yourself is true, or
We
Yeah.
have this concept such as selective
Mhm.
listening. So you select or you choose what you would take in from the opinions of others. So we should have that kind of discernment to somehow ascertain and decipher which is which. So which opinions would I honor and which opinions would I just let it be? So how do we do that? If we can acknowledge and say that the opinion of this person is coming from a place of care, it's coming from a place of concern about you, maybe we can try to evaluate that opinion. However, if you know that this person is coming from a place to distract you, then
Mhm.
maybe we could step back and try to, again, we try to evaluate if that could serve us, that opinion could serve us. So I think it's about the intention of these people, why they say what they're saying about us.
Yeah, that defines who you are. So that's very in line with our topic, that this episode all about self-acceptance, or let's say it's turning on the light, turning on the light. Yeah, so it will reveal the real you.
Yes. So one aspect of getting to know us is how others perceive us. But is it really something, is it really the most important thing so that we could recognize our very essence? So is it the first step towards self-acceptance?
Are you asking me? Okay.
Yes. I'm trying to somehow steer conversation here, discussion here.
In
What do
some-
you think, Zai,
I'm still
Kavaide?
For me, in some way,
I'm still analyzing
yes,
the question.
we also need to consider how others see us. I mean, we also need to be open to listen to their opinions,
Yeah.
because maybe we are blinded with how we see ourselves, and we need others' perspective to tell us, you are like this.
Yeah,
Oh.
that we could consider, but will we allow them to define us, their perception of us?
That's why we need to discuss, no, and identify where can we find our true, the correct, let's say, definition of ourselves. What makes us us, or you.
We have to acknowledge where, on which ground, do we base our self-identity, our self-worth,
Mm-mm.
everything about ourselves.
Yes, but to do that, we must be brave enough to come out
Yeah.
to the light
Okay,
from
so
darkness.
so how can you describe coming out from dark to light, Kavaidale?
Turning on the
Yeah,
light.
that's a very
You mentioned a
interesting
while
question,
ago.
no?
Yes.
You need to come out. Say,
Yeah.
What? Nag-come out na ka.
What do you mean come out? Come out of the room,
Come
yeah.
out of her, no? My people.
Yeah, I came out of my
Pero-
mom's womb.
Maybe have
Yes,
you have you
share.
reached to that point wherein you really know yourself, you really are aware of your worth,
Yeah, I
that
think
regardless of what other people would say, you cannot be swayed
Mhm.
by their mere opinions about you, and regardless of what happens around you, you can eventually say that this is who I am, and this is how I look at myself, therefore I would not get affected by whatever is happening around me.
I think I've really felt that sometimes, most of the time actually. No, I'm very grateful that I was able to see myself through that, in that lens. No, but sometimes no, it takes courage to go out.
Yes.
No,
that's true.
I remember in 7th grade, nga, some of my friends told me they were very frank. They were very frank about me. They told me that, Zai, we noticed that you copied this certain person, and I was very hurt. So actually, grade 7, it was it was a hard time for me. It was a hard time for me to trust people, to trust my friends. Yeah, because of that, I was able to trust people more. But because of that, also, I was able to open up to my mom, and thankfully, she was also not a barrier, a way for me to open up, and I'm so thankful for her actually. No, because those things that they've said to me, it really hurt actually. And actually, to tell you, they all told me that during communion, foot washing actually. So they all poured out their thoughts on me, and I was very hurt actually. So because of that, I tried to work on myself, and also to see what is right and what is wrong, and what's the right thing I did, what was the wrong thing. And slowly but surely, I was able to overcome those hurt, and I was able to forgive them, because was also thinking, sometimes, no, yes, some of their points were wrong. Some of those were to distract me, but also some of those words were to
Helpful.
help me,
Mm.
actually. So I'm also thankful for those things, actually.
That's one tendency, no kaway queen, no kaway sai. Our tendency also is to pretend to be somebody else or try to imitate someone whom we are not, and we are not being ourselves anymore. But that's true. I'm happy for Kawai Cyril here. She has supportive parents, no?
Yeah.
And sometimes truth or being objective will help you to come out into the real you, to be true.
Okay. Now, in order to accept who we are, what we are, it takes a lot of courage to do that. It takes
Yes.
honesty. It takes accepting. It's accepting the
Reality that
the
we need.
reality,
Yes.
your reality, and what is really happening inside and outside of you.
Yes, that's the first step. That's the first step towards healing. It's honesty, being honest with yourself, with your feelings, being honest with God, to others. You must be honest that you are not okay, you need healing, that either you are broken, because if you keep on denying all these
Mm.
emotions or what's this, like condition that you have, you will not find healing.
Have you experienced
So-
that, sir?
Being honest,
Or being dishonest.
that's denial, right? No? But
Yeah.
courage, they said, is the first among virtues. But the first step toward healing is honesty.
So we talk about honesty here in the context of trying to accept who we are. That sense of acceptance about
Yes.
ourselves.
Not only who you are, but including your need of healing, your need of grace.
Okay, now when we talk about acceptance, why are there people who get to not honor what they're really going through? Like, I think we also experienced this at some point, that we get to deny what we are experiencing, or we're not really fully accepting what these certain facets, certain dimensions of our personality and identity. What are some or hindering factors
We're
to fully
scared.
accept ourselves?
Fear.
Yeah, that could be through fear. But for me, it's like, maybe it's because we get used to it and we think that this is normal. It's not okay, I'm not okay, but this is normal. And so we try to live with that emotion. Is that an emotion? Or state of the mind niya, I know I'm not okay, but this is normal. So they just live with it. And maybe also from learned, what's this?
Experiences.
From childhood,
Yeah.
that we grew up, that this is happening every day in our family, society. So it appears that though you know it's not healthy or functional, no, or good for you or for everybody, but you accept it already as normal. So we don't recognize healing there or need of help or solution.
Pero I think, sir, no, the reason why we think it's normal already, because in the first place we were fearing that, and then because we were not able to open up, because we were scared to open up to certain people about that, because maybe they will judge us, they will tell
Yes,
us nga ano, di ba?
definitely.
Sometimes no, we do not accept, we do not kanang tell it to ourselves that we need it, because we're scared, and because we're scared, we were able to kanang gitago na to ba? We
Mm-mm.
hid it from ourselves, and because of that, we forgot about it na. It became normal to us already. So I think that is also why the
True.
reason why
One
we
of the
also have to
reasons.
address it and to also know about it, actually.
Like, we're afraid to be judged by people, because admitting that this is us, or this is who we are, people might jump to conclusions that how, why is she like that,
Yeah.
why is he
Yeah.
like
You know,
that,
we have that.
what makes him or her like that, gipadako ba nigtarong sa iyang ginikanan, those kinds of
Yes.
questions. So Zai Zai is right that there is some kind of fear of fully disclosing or fully accepting who we are because of how others would possibly perceive
It's
us.
it's a mechanism, right? To sometimes we repress, no, we repress those emotions or
We suppress
or
them, no?
pain. Pain. Yeah,
Suppress,
right?
repress.
Yeah.
Ah,
Suppress and
Sige,
repress.
define
suppressing
suppress.
is trying, you are consciously trying to hide it,
Okay, repress.
conceal it.
Repress is
when,
unconsciously.
yes, repressing is when you're always suppressing it, then it's your own body, it's your own system that would just let
Mm.
it be forgotten.
Mm.
But the problem there is it will resurface
In many
later,
forms.
in maybe in later stages in your life, or you don't know why you're acting like this or thinking like this, because back then, maybe childhood or teenage years, you have these emotions that you've been hiding for years and that you don't want to admit. It's not being objective because you want to deny, all of those need that you have.
Maybe because when you were still a child, you were not given an avenue or room to express yourself. Maybe that could also be one why we have developed certain defenses, why we suppress some things, why we try to deny some things, because maybe during childhood we were not given that opportunity to open ourselves, to be true to ourselves, to express our emotions. That could be one reason why we could not fully accept who we are right now, or we keep denying our weaknesses, our frailties, because since we were children, no? Since I was still a child, maybe you were not given that kind of, room to say what you want to say, because siguro you were kind of reprimanded by your parents. It's not good to be like that. It's not good to act like that. It's not good to say that.
What's your childhood, Zaire? How are you?
Are you
let's say,
making this a therapy
brought up?
session, Kabagdale?
Okay, sir. Turn. No, as a child, I think I kept on. The only memory I have is me playing. Actually,
Mm.
yeah, playing, and I think there were some restrictions, but also there were times that they allow me to experience certain experiences, so that I will also learn from it. Yeah.
I can see some differences now with the parenting style. No, di pa man ta parents, pero
Soon.
from my
You're
parents,
preparing.
from my grandparents, and even
Not yet a
in
parent, but
social
preparing to
media.
be one.
No, yes, your parent.
That
Yes, I don't
is, you cannot talk back to your parents or explain your side. Did
I
you
think
notice that
that's one thing that
Right?
maybe
Kanang,
That's-
sige, tubag.
Wait, I
Paingon
thought
mo.
that's
Nga naman
normal.
They will ask you a question, then, paingon mo, kuhan mo good ba? Tubag-tubag na ka? Diba? I don't
Yeah.
understand. They will ask you a question, but then if you answer, they will say, now you're trying to talk back to me as, right? But now it's different.
Oh, ew.
You will ask them, why did you do that? Now they will
Yes.
explain their
Yes.
side.
Yeah.
But dati, you cannot do that to your parents. You will just quiet
Yeah,
and
actually,
listen and
Yeah.
cry.
actually, that's a funny thing. I'll do that to my mom too. Sometimes, yeah, actually, sometimes when she does something, I will talk back to her. And yeah, sometimes feeling correct, but yeah, sometimes it's also a way
So
for her to,
what-
I don't know,
Which is better, no? The
both.
old way or
Or
the
the new way.
ang dating daan or ang bagong
What do you
daan?
think? I'm not yet a parent, so I could not say which is
So you must be
better.
one, mom. You try and then
Yeah.
apply those.
So,
No, both of you must be a
Styles.
parent na.
soon, but
Oo.
based on what I am observing from the parents, the millennial parents or the
Mm-mm.
new parents of this generation, it's the same as what you've expressed a while ago, Kavaidel, wherein they give their children the chance to express themselves. And I think it's on the discipline of the parents on how they would be able to regulate these expressions. Now, the thoughts and feelings, the thoughts and emotions of these children. I think it's on how these parents can also regulate their children in expressing it. So you have a room for that, but at the same time, you also educate. You also try to educate or try to correct what they are thinking, what they are feeling. But before educating and correct them, you have to validate. You have to accept that the emotions and the thoughts of your child, of your children, these are valid, and they have the right to feel that way. And after recognizing and validating these emotions, it's the time wherein if there is a need to correct them, if there is a need to instruct them, you do that.
It's also a way for them to also teach their children that their feelings are valid. Diba?
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
I think
Yeah.
Ma'am Queenie will be a very good mother.
Yeah. How about you, sir? Okay.
We cannot
Can you
say
explain
it,
something
sir.
like that so
We
that we
cannot
can know?
say it.
She can
Full-
explain very
Yeah.
well, but that's where we must bridge the gap now between theory and applying it to your.
Yeah, hopefully it could be an experience soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, for you also,
Very good.
an
Yeah, the
experience
theory.
for you, sir.
I'm okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
To be like this forever. No.
Yeah.
Yes, no, that's very true. But where are we in self-acceptance now, or coming out? Not coming out. Maybe it's turning on the light.
So how do
Just
you
stay where
how
we
do
are.
you
No, just
how
stay-
do you describe turning on the light? It's really trying to be fully aware of what
Yeah.
you really
I
are.
think we need to change.
think that-
it's not coming out, no, to the light, but
Coming
it's
in.
staying where you are and just turning on the light, because
Turning on
where
the
you are will
switch.
will
It's,
reveal your present condition, that you are out there in the darkness and you need healing, you need help.
Mm.
why do we need healing in the first place?
Because we are broken.
Why do we need healing? I think that
Yeah, that's right. Kavais, as I said it. Because
we
we're
are
broken.
broken.
Are you broken?
Broke lang.
Broken.
Ah, okay, bro. Same.
Broken is a
Same.
big word to Kavaydale. We just we would not just disclose it, but yeah.
Soon.
Ah, in a-
Broker. Brokers are real.
But I think Kavaysai said it that we need healing because
need
we're broken.
healing.
Because if we go back to
That-
how Adam and Eve sinned, no,
Yeah.
it has really become
But
part
we are
of
still in step one. Like, how do we know that we are broken?
Mhm.
That you need healing? Because
okay. So
it's turning
so
on the
we
light.
need it's a reality that all of us need healing.
Mhm.
Why? Because we are all broken.
Yes.
Our humanity, no, humanity is experiencing some sense of brokenness.
Yes, I remember in Psalm 51 verse 6, it says there that God desires truth in the inner parts. And so meaning here, we must be true
Mm.
from deep inside, deep within. We must be true. We must
We must know that we are
be
broken.
honest.
Yeah.
No, that's the first step again towards healing.
Yes.
So that's what we are talking about here. That we must turn on the light because we lack objectivity. We are so subjective with ourselves that I'm okay, I don't need help, I'm good. But if we turn on the light is God's light. God's light. That once we see ourselves, our need of grace, our need of help, divine intervention, then we can ask for help.
Yeah, our healing can only be as deep as our awareness of the
Yeah.
need of it. So if we know that we need healing because we are living in a broken world and we would never be exempted of its brokenness, we would always have problems, struggles, and strifes. So by recognizing that, we get to see that we are really broken and that we need healing. So the first step to healing is really the awareness that we need to be healed.
Yes. And being honest with what you feel.
So by being aware that we need to heal, by being aware that we are broken, it needs a lot of acceptance, a sense of honesty on our part on what needs healing, what part of us needs healing.
Yes. If you remember, naka-read ka sa Psalms, Book of Psalms, I read.
Yeah, I
Like
read it.
David, no?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, the psalmist.
very honest with his emotions.
Mm.
Yes,
He
definitely.
praises God. Sometimes there are chapters where he is angry with God, no? Or also chapters where he is confused, is afraid. All it's there in the book of Psalms. So just like us, we can be honest with God also with what we feel.
Definitely, because he knitted us, no? Even when we were not born yet.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and kanang I know some friends and even myself sometimes. So we do this kanang we pray, we say thank you Lord, we praise God, but actually deep inside we know we are not okay.
Yes.
We're not being honest.
And God sees the end from the beginning. He sees you.
Yes. So
So
it's
there's
okay.
no need for you to pretend in
Yeah.
before God.
So it's okay to tell God what you feel. It could be happy or sad or angry or afraid.
Mm.
Yeah, but just like what David expressed in the book of Psalms, when he experienced some sort of despair, he opened it up to God. When he was afraid, he was angry, he told everything to God. And when he praises God, he praises God.
Mm.
So there was a sense of being genuine as to what he really feels. So we can see in the book of Psalms, there is a wide spectrum of emotions that David expressed to the Lord. So same goes to us. Whatever we feel, we can always open it up and be honest about it in the context of prayer.
Mm. You know what? It feels so nice sometimes, no? Kaya sometimes we kneel down and sometimes we just pray and just ignore what we're totally feeling. But it's a different feeling when we acknowledge how we feel. So there are times nga I feel sad, so I cry. But do you laugh when you're sad?
Tears of
So,
joy.
yeah.
There
so,
are many ways
yeah.
wherein we
Oh,
can cope no,
yeah.
with that kind
Yeah.
of emotion.
And then after that, you feel better actually.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's very nice to be
Catharsis.
honest.
Yes, that's very
be
good.
honest.
Be honest. So
Yeah.
it's nice not to learn that honesty is the first step towards healing.
Mm.
Being honest with your feelings, even to the Lord.
Sometimes we are not honest because we're afraid of what others might possibly say about us. So how do we reconcile that
Yeah.
kind of reality, Kavai Dale?
Yeah, and sometimes we also think that there's no solution to this. So, and if we are honest enough, then we can see, there's no hope, there's no solution, there's no answer for this. So
There's no
I'm
hope.
just,
Yeah.
I just stay where I am right now. Like, who am I? I'll be broken like forever. I need healing, but because you're afraid, okay, that's what Cyril here said. Yeah, it's all about fear, not to come out or to turn on the light, God's
Okay.
light.
So what is the first step to fully accepting who we are?
Honesty.
Honesty. Then what else would follow? Now, if we are already honest enough that we are this or that, what then? What then could resolve that? Kavai Dale, what do you
I think that
think?
will be discussed in the next episodes. But that's only a symptom.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say symptom?
Our need for love and acceptance from others or even from ourselves is just a symptom of a deeper need. That is the need for self-worth. Self-worth. We all want to feel important. And what I like about, I don't know, I would like to ask you first, what are the ways that we do, or let's say, we'll call this alternatives, that makes us feel important for your generation,
Yes.
Kavaisai? What do you think?
For me,
What
I
makes
doing?
you significant?
Yeah, I think it's when we go with the trend. Trend, no?
Mm.
Trend.
That's very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, yeah, going with the trend. Yeah, going with the trend. Yeah, actually, because there's a lot of things that are going around and you have to keep up with that. And if you're able to keep up with that, then yeah, you're
Yeah,
pretty
right?
much
To feel accepted, to be accepted by your group or peers.
You have to fit in.
Yes, fit in, to be
Yeah.
cool.
So what if you're not fitting in? So you would, of course, that
that's
would affect
why
your self-worth.
There's the what's this the feeling gani of like you're trying your best to be like them para they will also accept you and accept you as one of their friends. When you know their music, no, when you also dress like them, no, or go out. I don't know. Yes, that's being friendly, but I don't know. The deeper problem there is because they have a need, and that is they want to feel important.
Yeah. They need to feel that they are important and
Yes.
need to be loved and accepted.
The need
So,
of belongingness.
I think our self-acceptance is affected by our anticipation as to the level of acceptance that we can get from others.
Mm.
No,
Yes.
so we could not fully be honest with ourselves, because if we are honest about ourselves, certain parts of that may not be accepted by others.
It all boils down to self-worth. And I like, and sometimes our alternatives are we are trying to fill it, no, this emptiness, this hunger, this
Mm-mm.
thirst with what the world offers,
Yes.
with what our friends offer, the world's standards. But why do we have that feeling? It's God given.
Mm-mm.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 11. It's God given. That God has put eternity in man's heart, meaning there is something more than this world.
Mm.
It cannot be satisfied with bago nga reband nga hair, no? New shoes,
Mm.
new car, or
New hair.
yes, relationships. It's more than that.
Mm-mm.
That is what we can see in Genesis. To feel important, the Bible gives us two. First is it is to honor God. That's our duty, our role as human beings, as created beings. It is to honor God. And second is our importance is on seeing it in God's light because we are created after His own image.
Amen.
So we all want to feel important, but we are doing all the wrong things for us to feel important. But the Bible tells us there are only two in Genesis. First, to worship God, to honor Him. Second, to remember that you are a created being. You are His creation,
Mm-mm.
fearful and wonderfully made.
So sometimes we find the basis of our worth, we find love in wrong places.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Finding love in all the wrong places.
No, we try to
Aw.
find our worth, how we could be accepted in these wrong places.
Or wrong
So we try
person.
to look for validations of others. We try to
Ouch, man. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, if you can say amen, then you say ouch. No.
We
Diba?
try
Oo.
to look for it in the trends of the world, how we could fit in. But based on what you shared a while ago, Kavaydale, we have to go back to God's truth about
Yes.
the existence, the reason of our existence, no, the reason of the essence of our humanity, so that we would be able to see our worth.
Yes.
Mm.
What you say, Kavaysay,
No, I just
in your...
Yeah, I just think nga how beautiful or handsome Adam and Eve was, no? To think that they're the first created human being, and then they say nga, I am also created like them.
Yes.
So I also wonder what they look like actually, so that I can ask them beauty tips. Charing.
Oh,
So we are created in the image of God. No?
Yes.
So we have to go back to that so that we can see what is really our worth.
Yeah.
Now we have to go back to God's truth about us so that we would not be swayed by how others would define us.
yes, that's very true. And Jesus even came for us to live an abundant life. John 10 verse 10.
Yeah.
He came here because he wants us to live an abundant life in Him.
Mm-mm.
And again, no, the world always has a counterfeit. It's trying to
It's trying to destroy
Yes.
us, to distract
give us a wrong definition of what is
Yes.
abundant living or abundant
Mm-mm.
life. But it's only found in the Lord. Again, the longing for self-acceptance, no, or acceptance of others, is just a symptom of a deeper need that is self-worth. And it's only found in the Lord.
Mm-mm. Okay. Now, I wanna share some learnings I had in psychology, because there's this one theory about about this theory is created by Carl Rogers. You are
Yes.
familiar
You're a
with
good friend. Yeah.
you're good friends with
Uncle
him,
Roger.
Kabaydale, Carl Rogers. So he stated in his theory that uh, people get to experience psychological distress, or I'm not sure, psychological dysfunction, if and when they experience conditions of worth. So conditions of worth is when you would only be important, you would only be significant if you are this, if you are that. So some people would try to think that I am just important if I just do this. So I could only be important in just what I do, not really who I am deep down. So what if I would not be able to do this anymore? Am I not important already? So according to Carl Rogers, some basis or one basis why we get distressed, why people experience psychological dysfunctioning, is when there are conditions of worth. You could only be worthy if you are this or that.
If
And
Positive self-regard. Is that
yes, yeah, we have that kind of concepts, right? That if and when you get to experience unconditional, positive self regard, that is, you accept the totality of who you are, both the good and not so good. That's when you get to experience an optimal, optimal functioning ba? So you get to experience wellness, and you being a healthy person if you get to experience unconditional positive regard, that is unconditional love from others, and unconditional positive self-regard, and that is accepting what and who you are. But then again, we have to go back to God's truth in order to recognize and acknowledge our existence and our essence as people.
wow.
so for
Wow. Maybe at the end of this season, I will take up psychology na.
Oh no.
Because it's so interesting, actually. Your
the beauty here,
theories and all
the
that.
beauty here with having God is He accepts us just as we are.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
can be brave enough and honest enough to turn on God's light that will reveal our sinfulness, our need of Him, because He is a loving God and He will accept us just the way
We
you are. We are, yeah. That's the
So
beauty.
touching to see that
Mm.
and to realize that I am fully accepted by the Lord. And even if I have committed mistakes, that's when another God's truth would come in. His grace.
And that must be our goal. We have nothing to prove, right? Because we know God will accept me.
Mm-mm.
I have nothing to prove that I must be like this, I must be like that, I must do this, I must do that for you to be accepted. No, God will accept you just as you are.
And if you fully surrender and submit to Him all your cares, and even all your weaknesses, through His grace, no, you would be able to see your worth.
Yeah. So as a Gen Z, Kabaysay, what can you say now? What are your thoughts on this, like self-acceptance? Di ka sayang.
Hindi ako sayang. I keep on reminding myself every day, every time I look at social media, or before or while I look at social media, I remind myself that, Zai, you are beautiful, you are accepted, you are loved by the Creator, you are loved by God, who is the most handsome person in the world, who is the most powerful, the wisest
Wisest.
man.
Mm.
So also to think, that someone loves me more, just as I am, even though I have a lot of mistakes, I have a lot of flaws, He loves me so much. That brings me to tears, actually. But yeah,
Mm-mm.
no. So while scrolling through social media, you can always remind yourself, na those things that you see on screen, they don't define you.
Yes, they are
But-
temporary.
Yeah, but what really makes you you is how God looks at you, actually.
How God sees you.
Yeah.
And He sees you with His love and His grace. And that is more than enough for us to see that we are worthy and for us to see that we are accepted,
Yeah.
regardless
Yeah.
of who we have become.
So we must not be afraid to turn on the light.
Mm.
What we do here, I remember during the first episode last week, we try to put makeups.
So Dale, Kabay Dale.
Because once the light will be turned on, they will see everything.
They will see
the
these
real
flaws.
you. Yeah, so sometimes that's what we do. We put makeup.
And that's why right now he's not
Concealers.
wearing makeup.
So because just the way you are,
Yeah.
He will accept you. But here we're so happy and blessed to know that God accepts us just as we are.
Just the way we are. And that is the very message that we want to convey to all of you, our Kavayans. So sad to know that we don't have much time already. So we're
Kawai
going.
Queen, I just realized that Tokwa is very nice di ay. This
Because-
episode, we talk about these
Yeah.
things, though it's
Yeah.
quite serious, pero I am learning a lot.
Yes, and we get to be reminded
Mhm.
of God's word for us, of God's truth for us. So it's so touching to somehow recall, and this serves as a reminder that God loves you, God sees you, and God accepts you for who you are.
Yeah.
Actually, what I do, no, since I'm the, as you can say, president of the
Yeah.
The
school,
student council.
the student council, the student government. What we did in December was has a very special place in my heart, because we made 500 bookmarks, reminding them that somebody loves them,
Mm.
somebody accepts them. And yeah, I think that is also a need for us today. Actually, that is what I really want to convey to the student government, that they are not alone, they are accepted always, they are loved.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Yes.
So I think it has been a fruitful discussion and conversation with two of you and our Kavayans as well.
just like
So
Tokwa.
if you want to engage in our conversation discussion, do not hesitate to send your opinions, send your questions, so that we would be able to explore that and answer that as well here in our podcast. So I think it's time to say goodbye to our Kavayan. So I am Kavay Queenie.
I am Kavai Zyril.
And I'm Kawai Dale.
See you on the next episode. Saya!